Hello everyone, I'm George from Ireland. I'm in Hyde Park, London, and behind me you can see the Readymoney drinking fund fountain. So this was erected in 1869, and it's called the Readymoney fountain because Sir Cowasjee Jehangir Readymoney was the one who donated the money for it to be put up. Sir Cowasjee was born in Mumbai, India in 1812. Back then that city was known as Bombay. So he came from a very affluent dynasty. He was a Parsee. Of course, the Parsees had originated in Persia, what we now call Iran, and the word Parsee simply means Persian in the Farsi or Parsee language. So they were perhaps the world's first monotheists, believing in Ahura Mazda, Lord Wisdom, and Zarathustra was their prophet. So he said, do unto others as you would be done by, something Jesus Christ later copied. They're also dualists. They believe there's Satan as well. They must oppose, and they believe in certain sacred elements like water, wind, fire, earth. So not to defile any of these in the way they dispose of their dead, exposing their dead in dachma, as in a tower of silence, to be picked clean by vultures. I'm sorry to say, rather more prosaically, they're probably actually munched by maggots and rats. But let's not dwell on that. Anyway, so the Parsee is a bit like the Jews of India, an absolutely tiny population who've achieved the most phenomenal success in business and the professions. But when Islam came, almost the whole population of Iran converted to Islam. The Parsees held out. Most of them shifted to India, living in Gujarat. So his family had moved from Gujarat to Mumbai in the 18th century and become very wealthy, hence the surname Readymoney. They were bankers. Well, our Sir Cowasjee, he went to a school run by a British man in one of the forts of Mumbai, which then existed, and they went into business, helping to run a warehouse, and he prospered in his trade. He made a great deal of money selling opium to China. The British East India Company allowed that, so he became very wealthy, and he donated over £200,000 to philanthropic causes both in India and in the United Kingdom. So £200,000, you could put 2 zeros on the end of that at least to bring it up to contemporary values. Anyway, so he's married, he had children, the dynasty carries on, but his nephew was his heir. So this was opened by Princess Mary, or May of Teck, as in the wife of the future King George V. She lived on until 1953. She was a very old lady when she died, living in Marlborough House, which appositely enough is now the headquarters of the Commonwealth of Nations. That's where Baroness Patricia Scotland lives, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations. But it's still owned by the Queen Marlborough House, just lent to the Commonwealth for its purposes. So I'm not sure if Sir Cowasjee actually ever visited the United Kingdom, but he did this drinking fountain. He put up many drinking fountains in India as well, because remember, getting clean water to drink was not something you could take for granted in the 19th century. People were dying of cholera and typhus and so forth by drinking dirty water, like the Broad Street pump scandal in this country in the 1850s in Soho, London. Hundreds of people dying in a short period of time because they were drinking filthy water that was infected with feces, or sorry, what should I say, polluted with feces. So look at the cow here, right? And then we've got a little bit of clock up high. That's helpful. Most people don't have watches. And here's what you can drink. And then the Metropolitan Cattle Trough Fountain, or whatever, drinking fountain fund helped to pay for the repair of this. Look at the lion. And who's that up there? Is that Prince Albert? Not so many years after he died. He died in 1861 at the age of only 42. And I'm not sure who this face is. It's rather worn away. So the vagaries of time have effaced that person's visage. Anything else? Yeah, so he's made, a companion of the most exalted order of the Star of India. So he's honoured. He was knighted, and very few Indians had been knighted. That's to say, he would say he was Sir Cowasjee. It would be wrong to call him Mr. Readymoney after that time. No, Sir Cowasjee. Now, I don't think it was a baronetcy. As I say, it couldn't pass to his son, only to him. A baronetcy passes father to son. Knighthood does not. It's for the lifetime of that individual only. That's why knights at the end of the day might put KT to make clear he's a knight and not a baronet, because the form of address is the same for both a knight and a baronet, Sir, followed by the name. Whereas a baronet might put Bart at the end to show he's a baronet, as in that's even more illustrious as passing father to son. So he died in 1878 in India, and presumably he was laid to rest in one of the Towers of Silence on Malabar Hill in Mumbai. Now there's a statue of him at Edinburgh University, but it's not sure if he actually donated any money. I'm not sure whether he'd done so otherwise, but he did this in recognition. He did this in recognition of the British Raj affording protection to his ethno-religious community, who's most ingratiated to the United Kingdom for that. So there is a photo of him with a handlebar moustache and that tall sort of conical hat that Parsees used to wear. You might have seen Mangal Pandey, that film about the Indian Mutiny, or as many Indians people prefer to call it, the First War of National Liberation. And there's a Parsee gentleman who's selling opium to China, although that's illegal actually. But he wouldn't have been doing it illegally. It's not specifically based on him, because he was doing it with the imprimatur of the East India Company. They were making a cut of it as well. Obviously, East India Company was dissolved in 1858, and the opium trade continued until 1912, as in selling it for recreational purposes, not medical ones. So there are Cowasjees, a Parsee family in Karachi, Pakistan. I'm not sure there are Cowasjees in Mumbai as well. The thing about his other name, Jehangir, is a Persian one, meaning grabber of the world, like world conqueror. It's Jehangir or Jehangir in Kazakhstan, for example. There was a Mughal emperor, Jehangir, and the Parsees, I'm not sure which language they conduct their worship in, but it's not Marathi, even though they live in Mumbai. It's not Hindi, it's not English, it's not Persian either. It's some other minor South Asian language. Very curiously, there are a few of those priests, Zoroastrian priests, but I don't know how long they kept the Persian language going, which in North India would be most advantageous, because of course the Mughals spoke Persian, and that was the official language of the Mughal Empire. But by the time he was born in 1812, the Mughal Empire was all but gone. Alright, that's enough from me. Follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and subscribe to my channel. Look up my English law channel, and look up my British poesy channel. There are links to my major channels to that one. And book online lessons with me in English literature, English as a foreign language, history, politics, religious studies, French and law. And choose me as your tour guide in Londinium. Toodaloo.